All right. This is our first podcast, the retro podcast that I definitely did not make last night at like 12 o'clock at night. And this is our podcast. We've done a bunch of podcasts before, but I am joined with Gotham Sanity, who is here doing this podcast with me. And we're just going to talk about random stuff, mainly Batman stuff. But this podcast is not just dedicated to Batman. We can talk about whatever we want to talk about. And something else I want to say before we start, actually two things, is we might want to stream this on my Twitch because I don't have anything on my Twitch right now. But if you guys want to follow Twitch, I could possibly start streaming these live and we could answer questions live and all that stuff. But at the end of the podcast, like our old podcast, we'll ask questions in the comments, and then we'll answer them next podcast. But that wouldn't have to happen if it was streamed. Well, we might still do it for YouTube audiences, but you know. But yeah, and I also want to say how much I appreciate all of the support. We're at like, let me check how many views it actually has.
You have 114K around there,
That's fucking crazy.
I think.
114K on the Why This Tragedy Is So Great, and 23K on Everything Must Go. That's crazy. And I'm currently working on a new video, Arkham Origins video, that should have been out by now. I don't know when this podcast is going to go up, but I want to make it soon after. But anyways, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I'm joined with Gotham Sanity. Introduce yourself.
I don't make videos. I tried for like 2 months and then not even 2 months, like longer than that.
He's gonna get there. He's gonna get there eventually.
I'm gonna get there in like 10 years time, and by that point I'll be like, yes, I'm doing it, and then YouTube will shut down the next day. That's how things are gonna go.
Vimeo will take over. Nah.
Anyways,
Anyways,
Zack Snyder will be number one.
no, he's on like I don't know what, he was on some weird app that I've never heard of before.
I thought it was called Vimeo. What the fuck was it on?
It wasn't Vimeo. It was.
I don't know. He's posting on like the most sketchy app. I bet you half of his followers are like fake bot subs who are porn stars. Like, join our group chat. I don't know. Anyway.
Whoa. The first thing we want to talk about, well, I'll list off what we'll talk about. It's only two things, really. I mean, I have some other stuff I mentioned, but that'll happen later. But we mainly want to talk about the old Batman movies, Batman 89 and Batman Returns. And then we're going to talk about the next Arkham game. And yeah, we're basically improvising. And random stuff will happen. This is how this stuff goes. But in the future, something I should have mentioned at the beginning, we want to have like guests on here. Because you can see at the bottom we have like the 2 profile pictures. Maybe that could be 3 profile pictures eventually. But, you know, we'll figure it out. We'll get some like YouTubers on here or something. That'll be cool. But we are basically the main host and we'll basically always be on the podcast. But yeah, we're going to talk about Batman Returns or Batman 89. I actually watched Batman Returns again on Friday night. Yeah, I stayed up really late watching that movie. And one thing I'll say is I watched it at first and I really appreciated it like a long time ago when I watched it, because this is my second time watching it. I really appreciated it. I watched it again and I noticed it's really, really low budget. Just, I don't know why, because the last movie was high budget. Like, there was so many different places, so many different sets and all that stuff. This movie's like all the same sets, like all the time. Why the heck did they do that?
I don't know if it's low budget. I just think that they didn't know where to put their budget. Because the suit in Batman Returns, in my opinion, looks better than the one.
Yeah, it does. It's like armored.
In that one. And I think it looks better in that one. I guess maybe because they had like more people in it. like with the suits and shit that they had to make, and then all the makeup for fucking Danny DeVito. So maybe they didn't really know where to put their budget because when I was watching the movie, it was so obvious to me. I was like, man, they just made like a big fucking huge set with
Yeah,
some green
and
screens all
there's
around, and then they
yeah,
like
like
not like Marvel level shit, but
what I didn't, because in the first one, though, a lot of it was real practical stuff, and then sometimes like there would be some really weird shots that are clearly fake, but they're kind of artistic, but they're clearly fake. Like when Joker falls off the building, it's like really bad green screen. But I mean, at least that was rare, at least in that movie, and there was a lot more like contents of it. While in this movie, it's just like a bunch of the same sets over and over again. I like the story. I think the story is really good. I think it was just executed not that well. And I think there was barely any sets really. Like the amount of times that the mayor gave speeches in that freaking town square area, like holy crap. Calm down, Tim Burton. Did you
yeah.
notice how many speeches they gave?
Yeah, I don't even know. They gave too many, and then there was I don't know. But like Tim Burton, man, he was a weird guy when making those movies because he wanted to put like apparent like he was gonna make a third one before Batman Forever, and he was gonna have the Scarecrow in there. Robin was
Whoa,
gonna
that
be
would
in
be cool.
there. He was
Yeah.
gonna have a lot of people in there. Really like it was kind of it was very sudden, but there was a lot of
Apparently,
original plans for 89 and Returns. Initially, Robin was supposed to show up in Returns
yeah,
or
that's what I was gonna
in
say.
89, but then when that didn't happen, they were like, okay, now we'll do it here. But then they were like, ah, no, we have Penguin and Catwoman. I don't know if this will work. But to be honest, man, like I don't think Tim Burton really liked Robin that much because if he did, he would have done it, but he never did, uh, and I don't think he ever would have. But there was some weird shit they were gonna do. I really like both movies. I think that they're probably yeah, they're my favorite Batman films, mainly because I just don't like the Tim Burton films that much. That's a long not Tim Burton, the Christopher Nolan films that much. I just prefer these two because I just think there's a lot more atmosphere and I can have more fun watching these than I can have fun watching The Dark Knight Rises. Like that shit's like I don't know. They're not as fun to me, and I really enjoy these. And I'm also kind of biased because I did watch these when I was younger. But I always remembered that 89 was a film that was an undeniable classic that everyone
Yeah.
really liked, even though there were obvious flaws with it. But then there was Returns,
I
and everyone
think
said that that was the bad one.
I think
And I watched it again,
89 is
and I was
so
like,
good. Just
89
personally,
is
I think
very
it's a
good.
classic like it's just really good. And Returns, like the idea of it and the characters they had in place, although I don't really like that type of penguin. I don't know. It wasn't that great to me. It was kind of cringy. But I like the ideas. I just think it's not even just the budget. I think the movie must have been rushed or something, kind of like Spider-Man 3 or something, where it just wasn't finished. Like, it just wasn't. Because 89, the reason it was probably so good is because they had to rewrite that movie over and over and over for like 10 years or something. Something like that.
Oh, do you want to know something about the cathedral scene, the
Yeah,
one you love
entirely
so
improvised.
much? Wasn't even supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson went to a fucking show, and then he came in on set, and he was like, I really like the idea of a cathedral. He went to like Phantom of the Opera or something. And he was like, we should do a cathedral scene for the finale. And Tim Burton was like, okay. He
Okay.
just no fucks, just
All right.
yeah, okay, sure, we'll do
And
that.
it worked
And
perfect.
then they
And
did,
also,
and it's pretty good.
think about the music. There's not really any iconic music in Returns, except like maybe one track, and that's like for Penguin or whatever. But really, there's no iconic music. I don't know if Danny Elfman was working on Returns, but
He
the
was, but
music.
I think he recycled a lot of the
Well,
ones
yeah, he
from
did,
'89.
and I feel
Um,
like he added a few things. Like he added a chorus a lot, and just added that on to the old tracks. But like 89 just had so many different. Like it wasn't just one type of thing. It was like a bunch of different tracks, and some of them have like unique instruments and stuff. and like there's so many good ones. It's not just that one good track. It's not just that one good theme in 89. It's like the entire soundtrack is like iconic. Every single song is like really good and cool and unique. While in this movie, all the songs just kind of sound the same. And you don't really, because they sound the same, you don't even notice that there's music anymore. And it's just kind of just background noise at that point. And it's just like
I think
it was rushed, I think.
I think both those movies are two very different films in a way. I
Yeah.
think that Batman 89 is a more aesthetic film. It's more about the way things looked and the way things were. Like there's a lot more silent moments in 89 to kind of like take in like the sets and stuff. Like the stills of him in the cathedral at the very top with the
Yeah,
bells
it's
and shit
so
and walking
quick.
around.
Returns is
It's a
so
much more
quick.
aesthetic film in 89, but Batman Returns was more kind of. I think Tim Burton had more fun with it. I think they were like, "Oh my God, Batman 89 did so fucking good. You nailed it. Do whatever you want for this one." And he was like, I guess he got really interested in the Penguin stuff. And then he just worked on the Penguin stuff only.
Yeah, I think he went a
Like,
little
cause
too he just he didn't put
it takes the
the effort in
forefront.
the other areas. Yeah, he didn't put enough effort in other areas for some reason. Like I just think some of the writing is really off. Like when Batman stops the or he doesn't stop anything. When Penguin orders his henchmen to like blow up a bunch of streets and stuff. Forgot exactly why he was doing that. It was to like frame somebody. Maybe it was Batman or something. And then Penguin's just there in some alleyway, and Batman somehow coincidentally sees him, and then they start
Just
talking.
runs into him.
And it's like, okay, first of all, why is Penguin there? And this is such a coincidence. They just run into each other like that. And then there's another coincidence where Catwoman runs out, and then that building explodes. It's just I don't know. A lot of and it's the same like things like the amount of times you see that same set in the town square where the mayor has to come out. When you see the mayor come out to give a speech for like the 16th time, it gets really boring. I don't Tim Burton must have not put so much effort into the script for some reason. I don't know why. Or maybe he envisioned the way he envisioned it was more or maybe they just overdid it with a few things and they were like, okay, we don't have enough budget for another set or something, which is really confusing. Like, I saw the same set, and they, one time, it was not even like in the context of the story, technically it wasn't even supposed to be on that set, but I'm guessing they were forced to put it there. There was one scene where like they were just walking and it wasn't even supposed to be on that set, but you could see the statues in the background and you're like, "Bro, if I see this
I
set
mean,
one
the
more
scene with
time."
like Bruce and Selena, where they're kind of just at the
Yeah,
same place where they first met at the very fucking start of the movie.
it's like, dude, is there any other locations in the city? Is this the only place that exists in the entire city? And some of the like the backgrounds are so clearly fake. Like in 89, they really kind of fleshed it together. Like the wide shot of town hall or whatever in 89 where they give the speech or whatever when what's his name, Harvey Dent is there as well. It's like a wide shot at first and you see like the background and it's like it kind of fleshes together. It doesn't feel realistic, but it fleshes together. It seems more artistic. Here it's just like in the background behind the statues, it's just an image. Like they just put an image up and it's like a really blurry, it's not even like remotely real. And I guess you're just supposed to believe it. And it also I don't know, they just didn't have money, but there's so little extras. Like there's like 5 people living in Gotham City for some reason because when they give the town meeting, you expect like a bunch of people to be there. No, there's only like 100 or not even 100, like 50 and that little gap. Why there and then all across the roads there's just nobody there. It just I don't know. Why would they do that?
We're kind of shitting all over this movie for something that I just said was a part of my favorite Batman movies.
It's not
Okay,
personally it's not my favorite. I think 89 is my favorite Batman movie, although Batman kills in that movie, and I don't like that. But for some reason, all the other aspects that are so Batman just kind of fill that void. Although I
Yeah,
wish he didn't kill. But it's kind of like a
I
comedic.
don't
Every time he kills
understand
people,
it.
it's kind of comedic in a way,
Yeah,
and it's kind of
but
thrown
however, it's
aside.
less noticeable his how many fucking people he murders in
Yeah,
'89 because
because
it's less noticeable. But in returns, he throws a bomb down into that fucking thing, and it's
yeah,
what?
in like '89,
The
it's in both of these movies. It's never a plot line of Batman killing people, so it's kind of hard to notice it. It's kind of like
kind of
it's a Batman
basic superhero
story.
movies, to be honest.
It's a Batman story, but without the killing, like without the no killing rule part, and that's like it just kind of strips that part away. And in a way it still works, but if it didn't like have the visual look of Gotham City, if they didn't pick the good actor Michael Keaton and all the other good actors, if the sets weren't that good, if the wardrobe wasn't that good, if the music wasn't that good, then it would have taken the whole movie under. But fortunately that stuff was good.
Uh, Here's something I want to clarify about why I love '89 and why I fucking hate BVS. Um, BVS is a shit movie for plenty of reasons outside of Batman murdering. But Batman murdering in BVS annoys me more in BVS than it does in Michael Keaton's version. And I like some Snyder Cut people are like, oh,
It's
people excuse Michael
overkill.
Keaton for killing people in '89. But here's my response to that: it was the fucking '80s. Like they didn't really have comic books like The Killing Joke and Hush and shit like
Yeah,
that. They
like that
had
wasn't
Killing Joke,
developed yet.
but it wasn't fully there yet. Like Batman wasn't a defined character. Every superhero back then were just relentless murdering motherfuckers whenever it suited them. But Batman has kind of developed over the years to be the opposite of that. Yeah, he's murdered people in comics before, but it's been rewritten and
Yeah,
rewritten and rewritten
really.
to where he
Yeah,
never has
and
anymore.
the new continuity, all the times that Batman has had a gun in the comics, that was turned like I don't know when this happened, but it might have been Crisis on Infinite Earths. They basically made it where that continuity is an entire separate Earth, so that the
Yeah.
mainstream Batman never had a gun. That never existed in the mainstream. It's an entirely different thing. And
Yeah.
people say he kills in Batman Returns, like the comic book Batman Returns, the Dark Knight Returns. I meant he doesn't. He doesn't kill anybody in the Dark Knight Returns. It's actually kind of a
I think that's
plot
the
point that he
consensus
doesn't.
the movie made. Because in the movie, there's like a scene where he literally throws this like teenager into a fucking sign and then it electrocutes him. Like it's kind of obvious that that guy fucking died. And like he has like a full blown seizure, and Batman
Well,
like doesn't try and save the kid. Like that's just the movie. That's not really the
yeah, I don't
comics.
know if
That's
that
probably
happened in the
different.
comic, but for the most part, he's not supposed to kill. Like that wasn't really the point of the movie, because also he doesn't kill Joker. Joker has to kill himself. So if he was this murderous Batman, he would have just killed the Joker right then and there in the love tunnel or whatever. He would have just snapped his neck like immediately. But no, he was just sitting there waiting, and then Joker killed himself.
I mean, he
But
did fracture his neck though.
yeah, but he knows exactly how to not kill people because he knows how to kill people.
Yeah, but okay. Let me talk about the positives of Batman Returns and why I really like Batman Returns.
Catwoman, I need to
Now,
talk about Catwoman. I love Catwoman.
shut up. Okay, basically, I just want to say something real quick about this. I love Batman and Catwoman in this movie, but I think the fact that we've already seen a movie where we've seen Bruce Wayne get like, the love towards the end, like he gets like the girlfriend that he's wanted throughout the entire movie. Kind of like whenever they're talking about some of that shit in the movie, whenever they're talking about like how much he loves Selena and shit, it makes it feel like just another person because of the first movie, because of the influence of that.
Yeah.
But if the first film didn't really happen the way it did, that like I love the way that those two characters are handling this. Because Bruce Wayne in '89, he's not like Bruce Wayne now. He's kind
Yeah.
of this guy who doesn't really know how to be entirely sociable, which works really well. And I really like the way that they are handled in that version because I just really love it. I love the set in Wayne Manor with the fireplace and the Christmas tree and shit. I just love all of that shit. And Michelle Pfeiffer, to this day, in my opinion, is still the best Catwoman. I just prefer her. I think she was
Yeah,
in a better
I would
film.
say she is. Like, I don't know if the new one will beat it. I don't know, but I think this this is such a good Catwoman, and to me the scene, like her whole arc is just really good. And I like the scene where she just starts destroying everything in her apartment. It's so good. It's so good. And I think it's it's all one cut. Like it's not
Oh, one
multiple
take.
shots. It's all one take, and it's so freaking good. And you notice how when she breaks the sign, the neon sign, it says, I think it says "Hell's
Yeah.
here" or something, and it's like really good. And she's like battling with it because she can go back to like acting like uh, why am I forgetting Catwoman's real name? Selena
Yeah,
Kyle.
Kyle.
She's acting like Selena Kyle, but she's not really. And like you can see it because when she's at the party or whatever at the end, she's like finding it really hard to act like her. And now she's like, no, I'm actually gonna kill. Um, what the fuck is that guy's name? The power
Just
plant
call him Christopher Walken. Oh wait, his name is fucking Shrek.
Shrek.
I'm not
Yeah,
even joking.
Shrek. So
His name is Shrek.
she's like about to kill Shrek. Like I think her arc is so good. I don't really like Penguin that much. I don't think he was done that well. I think Batman is cool for the most part. I think Bruce Wayne needs to stop stuttering so much and actually get his words out more. He's like 40 something. Come on, man. Start talking. But
I'm fine with that because I think it shows the difference between Bruce Wayne and Batman. When he's
yeah.
Batman, he's able to word himself well. He's like, most people say Kevin Conroy was the man who discovered that Batman was that Bruce Wayne was like the fake person that the fake persona. But I think Michael Keaton kind of realized that too because the way he did it was he made it seem like he was more comfortable as Batman than he was as Bruce Wayne.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
he
I
was
think
more
that suits it a
sure.
lot more.
And I just really I really like Catwoman in this movie, and I like all her fights with Batman. I wish the sets were better because I really like the idea of Batman and Catwoman fighting throughout the movie, and they're fighting on these tall rooftops and stuff and chasing each other down. And Catwoman falls into that like what's it called? That garden or whatever at one point. I think it's cool. The one downside is the music and the set design is just not good. All the rooftops are so boring. There's not really any of that cool smoke and atmosphere like there was in '89. It's just kind of boring. The city just seems bland. But overall, I really like Catwoman's character. I think it was very well done. And we haven't really had an origin. Like, The Dark Knight Rises didn't really have an origin. She just was Catwoman. She just showed up. And then
Yeah,
what's it called? What's the Catwoman movie fucking sucks. We don't even need to talk about that. But yeah,
we
like
don't.
it's such a good. I think it's perfect. I really think Catwoman as the character was written perfectly in this movie. Just it's unfortunate that the rest of the movie, to me personally, is not at the standard of writing that she is.
Well, here's one thing I will say that Tim Burton definitely fucking did. The cat orgy thing that resurrects her is weird to me and doesn't work.
No, I like it. I'll tell you
I
why
think
too.
there's an idea there. There is an idea there, but I just don't think it was done well. She falls off like the tallest fucking building I've ever seen in my life, and then she's just resurrected by cats. Like what? Like I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay, I like it because those movies have like a certain amount of like mystery to them where it's not entirely real. Like you don't really think everything is entirely real. Like when Joker falls off the cathedral, his entire body would have disintegrated into blood. But no, he just makes this like imprint into the concrete, and that's not at all how that work. But in this movie, I like it because the point of it wasn't just like, I don't know, he just didn't do it for no reason. The point of it is that there's this certain trend in this movie, or this certain theme, where every character has a specific animal characteristic that is tied to them. So with Penguin, it's penguins, and the penguins are kind of like, they aren't stupid. Like they kind of know what Penguin is saying. They listen to him as if they are smart enough to understand, as if they're like mysterious, like they have some kind of like spiritual
For sure.
connection to him, and they do what he says, and they put him in the water at the end as like a, I guess like a grave or something, and he floats down. And that's the same thing with Catwoman. She has cats, and they have this like spiritual ability to bring her back to life. And although it's not realistic, I still like it because it's like this reoccurring theme. And Batman has bats, although it doesn't really happen in this one because bats showed up in the first version. Uh, so I think that's really like what the point of it was, to show that dynamic and like this weird
Yeah.
mysterious thing where the animals of this movie are somehow like spiritually connected to their characters. That's why I like that scene.
I guess if you put it that way, I like it. But man, if only we could have gotten like a Batman origin film with this one,
Yeah,
because what Michael
a
Keaton, he
year
went on an
one, dude.
interview a long time ago. He was like, he went to Tim Burton. This was before Joel Schumacher's. No, actually, no. The new director, he was brought on board. I don't know if it was Joel Schumacher or not, but the new director, he was there, and they were like, and he was like, we've kind of went wrong with this in some places. I think we should show where this guy started, as opposed to just kind of, like leaving it like this, because we kind of went wrong with some of this stuff, like with the murder and stuff. Like he acknowledged that they were wrong to do that, and that's why I don't really like when people say that he wasn't a good Batman just because he murdered people. Michael Keaton fucking understood Batman. He understood Batman, in my opinion, and I would have loved to see that, because beforehand, like Frank Miller and some other guy pitched to DC year one, so they probably would have made year one with Michael fucking Keaton. I would have taken that. I would take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking serious?
Where's our Batman Beyond movie, man? Like,
I
and then we
don't
can have some
know. There was supposed to be
flashbacks
one
to year
made a
one,
long as time ago,
bro.
where that was going to be made, um, with Paul Dini as one of the writers.
Holy shit.
Uh, and he wrote up a script. It was some guy, I can't even remember his name, but he just finished up this blockbuster, and DC were like, and he was like, I've been making so much shit lately. I've been making like this big movie that making like a smaller film is stupid to me. The next thing I'm going for is Batman, because Batman was huge at the time. So he's just making a joke. But then all of a sudden his agent calls him up telling him he got a meeting with WB for a Batman project. And he was like, "Oh shit, okay." So he went to WB and he pitched a Batman Beyond movie with and they brought on, I think they brought on Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, not just Paul Dini. They brought on the original creators of Batman Beyond to basically just put like the first season or something into one movie. And they were going to make like an entire live action movie. I think they were almost in the casting. They were making a load of shit. They were making a load of stuff for it. And then he was just like, because apparently, despite Paul Dini being the one who wrote it, apparently the script wasn't very good, and they didn't want to move forward with it, and they were like, I don't really know how to feel about this. And apparently the guy, he was just like, I don't really care about making a Batman Beyond movie. This is not really where my heart's at. So he just dropped out, and they never made a Batman Beyond movie uh from
It's
that.
like
But they
really,
better make a Batman Beyond movie with Keaton.
They do, because Keaton is getting old. You gotta do it. Like, you really gotta do it eventually, because he clearly can. He was the Vulture. Just get him in, man. Just please get him in. But it's kind of a
Fucking do it.
shame because after Batman Returns, which I honestly, if I talked to Tim Burton, he'd probably say that they did mess up a lot with the movie and there was some stuff that didn't reach his vision that he was imagining when he wrote the movie. And he'd probably admit that there was supposed to be more to it. And I guess they
He
must
didn't
have
miss
been
that. He
rushed.
didn't even like
But
the first Batman movie.
I feel like it sucks because after that he didn't get a chance to redeem himself because then he started losing control of the movie universe, and now Joel Schumacher and all that stuff started taking his movies and started just, I don't know, like they kind of got the visuals right, just a little bit. They shouldn't have put CGI because Tim Burton, I don't think he likes CGI at all. He's really practical, miniature sets and all that stuff. So adding like the first shot of Batman Forever with a CGI shot probably pissed Tim Burton off a lot, and it just, the way they went about it, it had like a similar close. It was almost to that visual look, but it wasn't. And the writing was nowhere near the writing of before. And just like Batman Forever, I can kind of excuse it. It's not a good Batman movie per se, but it's an all right. It's all right. I think they did a few things right, but they kept
Here's
doing
a
the
funny
same
thing.
things with the love interest. They kept doing the same things, and then the next movie was just like, holy crap! Okay, they've lost everything. This sucks. Batman and Robin, dude. I can't even watch
Yeah.
that. It's just so bad. I just cannot get past the first scene anymore. I just can't. It's so bad. So yeah, I don't know.
It's a fun fact about Tim Burton when he was still on board to be doing the third and final Batman movie. He was gonna call it Batman Continues, and then he
That's a
went on an
really.
interview and he was asked about like what he thought of the fucking the Batman Forever movies, and he was just like, I always hated titles like that. It always sounded like something from a yearbook. It's like, what the fuck? Who puts Batman Forever in their yearbook?
Batman continues. That's such a, no. That's bad. That's
Might as well just
bad.
call it Batman Keeps on Being Batman.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Like,
That's such a bad title, Tim Burton. Come on, man. Come on. Batman Forever sounds better than Batman Continues. Like, it's more of a wow factor, and it also means the same thing. Batman Continues and Batman Forever it's the same thing. Just one sounds good, but one
yeah,
sucked as a movie. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like a shame, and I really think just to get the hint of what it was like, and I tell you now, if they confirmed a Batman Beyond movie and Michael Keaton was Bruce Wayne, and they said it's gonna have the same visual look, I bet you, because Batman, when that came out, that was a huge film, and it affected things. Star Wars was like the thing that really got blockbusters running, but Batman did a lot too. Like, it was one of those really influential blockbusters, and
yeah.
I feel like now that it's like returning Star Wars. Everybody went to see Star Wars: The Force Awakens because they knew Star Wars, and Star Wars was such a big thing. Everybody went to see it. If they did this, where it's a Batman Beyond movie, and they make sure the audience knows from the trailers that this is like a continuation of the Tim Burton universe, then people will watch this movie. This will be a big movie. They just need to do it. They just need to do it. Like, it's been hinted at so many times. I even made a video about it. There's just so many, like, every year we have a new leak about a Batman Beyond movie, and it's just like, why isn't it happening, man? We had one about an animated theatrical release Batman Beyond movie, but that was deconfirmed.
Would have been cool. I would have taken that. I'll even take
Like a
Michael
spider,
Keaton's
it was supposed to
fucking
be like
voice.
Spider Verse.
I remember. Oh man. I love those movies. I don't know, like there's something about those movies that captured a part of Batman that no director has captured ever since.
Exactly. I think it's the oldness, the grime and stuff of Gotham. I think that's why the Joker movie is so good, because it's almost like it's not a Tim Burton Gotham. It's close though, because it shows like how ugly and stuff the Gotham looks. It's also like back in the 80s. It's supposed to look like it's back in the 80s, which is how Batman should look. When Batman first starts out, Gotham is kind of like old looking. In the
Yeah.
future, there's futuristic stuff, but there's always this old, like the old always sticks with Gotham because Gotham is not supposed to advance. Like Gotham is mostly a poor city, and if you've noticed anything about poor areas in a city, they usually have really old cars. Like if you look at Cuba, they have really really old cars because they have no money to get new cars. So that's what Gotham's supposed to be. And then the corporations like LexCorp and stuff, they have all this futuristic tech, but for the most part, Gotham is like a really old, rundown city, and that's what he got right. The city was a character, but if you see in Batman v Superman and The Dark Knight, there's a bunch of like glass buildings, and even in
Fuck.
BVS or whatever, there's not as many glass buildings, but it's so generic. Gotham City isn't a character in Batman v Superman. It's kind of just a
In Justice
background.
League,
And Justice League, yeah, it's just a background. It's just literally just a set
it's just
in the back. It's
CGI.
CGI.
It's not even set. Like
It's
it's
not
just a
cool.
lot of green blocks. You
So
can feel when something's not real. There's okay, for me with Marvel movies, I've always been fine with them. I've always never thought that they were visually bad. But there was always a certain
it's
feeling, an
boring.
atmosphere about them
It's
that I
visually
really
boring.
disliked, and that's because most of their sets don't fucking exist.
Yeah, they're not real in the amount of CGI. Like if you okay, Harry, I saw this video. So the part, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I got spoiled. The part in Far From Home or whatever, when Mysterio puts Peter in the dream state or whatever with the green
None of that's
gas.
real.
None of it's real. And I'm like, holy crap, that's really good. But they're just doing it like, I guess that makes sense because of how complex that scene is. But I saw a clip where literally people getting out of a car was entirely CGI, just for no reason.
There's a scene where Nick Fury's in the most generic fucking
Yeah,
apartment on the planet, and the gun CGI, the wall is CGI, everything is fucking CGI.
I don't get it because practical effects, like I said in my Joker video, I'm gonna make a video about this because I think it's important. But practical effects aren't good because they're old or whatever, or they're like classic or they're Oscar worthy. Like, oh, we're so cool because we use old effects and we're so cool. It's like people who love classical music. Like they think they're so cool because they're like old music is so much better than new music. That's not the reason practical effects are so good. The reason practical effects are so good is because limitation breeds creativity. Because when you are limited, you have to come up with creative ways to solve your problems. Think of the first Jurassic Park movie where the dinosaurs weren't CGI, they were entirely real. Well, for the most part. I'm pretty sure there was a few of CGI ones, but for the most part, they're like real
Um,
people in these costumes. And because of that thing, it's like it adds like a certain level of uniqueness to the movie because the way you solve your practical effects might not be the way that someone else solves their practical effects. Because if you make a dinosaur movie, Jurassic Park, and you solve your practical effects by having people in a dinosaur suit, then it's going to look different from the guy who does the same similar movie with dinosaurs, except he didn't put people in dinosaur suits. He has like robots and stuff in dinosaur suits or whatever. They're going to look different. They're going to look visually different, and it makes the movies more unique. While if you had CGI, an artist is just going to make a generic, they're going to find generic, dinosaur assets, make them look like the real thing from real life, and your two movies will look exactly the same because you're going to have the same looking dinosaurs, the same looking effects. It's going to be visually boring, and that's what I don't like about some of the Marvel movies. I think CGI in Guardians of the Galaxy, for the most part, there's a lot of really bad CGI in the second movie, but for the most part, I think the CGI works well because they did have some good sets in that movie, but also it's like in space and stuff. You can't really do that without CGI, and they still made it visually good looking. Like they had some good ideas, like the city inside of the skull. That's just really good writing. Like they had a really cool idea for that, and they turned it into a real place in the movie. But for something that's on Earth, like Spider-Man Far From Home and stuff, okay,
Dude,
it's just a
go to
city.
fucking Italy.
That's
Like, holy
boring.
shit. You're Disney. Stop spending all your money on CGI and book a fucking plane. Holy shit. Like, I don't get it. I don't.
Did they film it? Did they actually? They filmed. Where did the movie take place?
Filmed parts.
Venice and London.
They, I don't even know. Yeah, London and, like, Paris, London, Venice, a lot of other places. They went there, but they just never did the apartments and shit. I don't think any of them are real. Except for, like, one of them.
I don't know. It's just like I'm gonna
That
make a
pissed
whole
me off.
video about it on why they're so important. And having good sets, like if you look at the Joker movie, you can notice when a set looks real because in a Marvel movie set, all the papers or whatever's in the background, all the tables are clean, everything's perfectly placed. It doesn't look real. That's not how a real set would look. Maybe in like a really organized place, but real life sets are not going to be all that clean and stuff like that. Real life sets are going to have stuff scattered everywhere, and over time, things will just end up places where they're not supposed to be. And that's how it is in, like, the Joker movie, where, you know, in real life, when you're putting stuff after a while, after you, like, you have to reorganize stuff all the time, in your house or room or whatever the heck. And sometimes you put places where they're not supposed to be, and then it piles up and stuff. That's what you see in the Joker movie. And that's really, really good sets, where there's like papers piled on each other. They probably should not be there, but someone's too lazy in the Joker world to clean that up. And I like that. I like set design like that.
Marvel's dumb. I disagree with a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to
Marvel
be a
does.
super big hater on Marvel. I think recently people have like turned against Marvel, and that's really weird because 3 years ago, if you said anything bad about Marvel, someone would freaking kill you on the spot.
Fuck 3 years ago, everyone's trying to kill Martin Scorsese and all the people who are saying all this shit about Marvel. And look, look, I don't hate Marvel, but if I'm being honest, I don't entirely fucking love Marvel either.
I just
I
don't
don't.
think their movies like they're kind of just the bare minimum of making everything look real and having like a generic script. And the Ant-Man movies are like a perfect example where it kind of looks like a CW show. The writing is generic, everything is just generic. It just doesn't, I don't know, it's just generic. And that's the same thing with a lot of these
That's not
movies.
why I dislike Marvel movies. Marvel movies, I don't even know why I dislike them, to be honest. Because I think that a lot of Marvel movies, in reality, are just copy and paste of one another. And I don't feel like going and watching a
There's no
movie
twist
that is
really.
just a stand-in for another movie or a character they might want to use in a few years. Like, fuck's sake, man. Like, did Hawkeye even need to be in Avengers?
No, not
Did
really.
he?
And he's getting a
Like,
movie or something soon. It's like, what are they gonna do with Hawkeye? Like,
thinking of canceling it because of the whole thing that's going on with Jeremy Renner. But look, that's one of the reasons I don't like Marvel movies. The other one is whenever I go and see a Marvel movie, and this has been happening for a long fucking time. I remember sitting down, like, going to watch a Marvel movie just so many times, and like 30 minutes would go by, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm not enjoying this. Sometimes, like everyone says that the Marvel movies have great pacing, but the way I look at it is that
it's
it's
just
pretty good,
generic
and then the
pacing.
last fight happens, and then it takes too fucking long. It's not. It's like the movies are made by talented people. Like look at Guardians of the Galaxy. Look at Endgame. Even is kind of
In-game,
like
I think
it's
in-game,
all right,
it's
but
good because they didn't do generic things. They did what wasn't expected. They ended up killing everybody, killing like half the people, No one expected that, and the way the scenes went out and stuff, it was less generic and polished. I think I can actually relate this to music because an artist I like is Tyler the Creator, and he made an album, and he's really talented, and he could easily make the perfect polished, every single note is absolutely perfect that you hear on the radio, but he doesn't, and he pulls it back, intentionally pulling it back to sound a little bit more amateur because in reality imperfect things are more unique, and they just sound more unique. They have more character. While if you see a perfect thing, like imagine a perfect character, there's no problems to be solved. So a perfect character
Captain
wouldn't
Marvel.
even work. Exactly like Captain Marvel. So that's why I think like imperfect things. It's the same thing with practical effects, as I said. CGI is like perfect. For sometimes it's really good for certain things. It's a priority for certain things. Like the black hole from Interstellar, you can't just make that practically. But sometimes limiting yourself can like make things more creative. And I feel like bringing it back to an amateur level makes things more unique and have more character, and you remember it more instead of just seeing the same like perfectly polished, perfectly cut, all the scenes have the same color grading, just really boring stuff. And that's why I
Fucking
don't
Civil
like
War,
Marvel that
man.
much. Civil War, oh my god. Just don't even tell me about that one. That's why I don't like Marvel that much. Now, I do like some Marvel movies. Like, I think Iron Man 1 is really good. I think Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and half of 2. I don't like the last half of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I don't like his dad. His dad is lame. Too much
People
CGI.
want him to come back. I don't
Ugh.
like his fucking dad. Some people, like I saw a post on Instagram a while ago. It was like Legends died in 2017, and it showed like Caesar, like all these other great characters, and then there was just him. I was like, what the fuck? Why is he in here?
Yeah. And I wonder, I'm thinking about this year. The Joker movie came out. And, like, when it came out, I forgot. Wait a second. In game. Or wait, okay. I was talking about in game earlier. And I said in game was not generic. Okay. I was actually meant to say Infinity War. I don't like Endgame personally. I think it's really rushed writing wise. But I meant to talk about Infinity War. I think Infinity War is not generic, and they killed half the people, which is really like a twist on things. But I'm thinking like Endgame. Do you think the majority of people think Joker is better than Endgame? And if that is true, then that shows you something. It shows you that you don't need this huge cast of characters and this massive budget and all that stuff to make a movie that everybody's going to like. You don't need all that stuff. You don't need to have this huge, massive universe to come together to make that much money. And I'm not saying Joker's not going to make as much money as Endgame, but the amount of
They're the
support for
highest R-rated
Joker,
film of all
yeah,
time, dude.
exactly. The amount of
They're
money it's
up there.
generated and like the amount of people who like the movie and say it's like really good, and I've everybody in my comments, I don't know if it's just my comments and that's not really a good, evidence for this, but a lot of them say that this movie, although they like Endgame, is better than Endgame. And it's just like that's
Most people
crazy
say that.
because
Because
there's
look,
go ahead.
okay, here's the thing with Endgame. You have to watch 22 fucking movies to understand it.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
There's so many
It's not a movie.
flashbacks.
It's a fucking. It's just like why? It's like look. It's an enjoyable film if you've
It
seen most of the
relies
Marvel films.
on everything before
But
it to work. It on its own,
yeah,
it would just be an absolute trash
mm,
pile.
and some of the time travel stuff doesn't work though. Some of that didn't make much sense. I
It's
remember
just
I
really
can't remember
rushed
now. It's been so
writing.
long since I don't want to see that movie again. I've
I
seen it
don't
a lot of
either.
times, and I've seen some people say that Endgame was better than Joker just with no explanation.
I
And it's
just
like if
don't.
you can't give me a reason, then
It's
I'm
not
not
even
ever gonna side with
satisfying
you
to me.
or
It would have been
and
satisfying if Galactus came out of the fucking clouds and started killing everybody. But that didn't happen. It was Captain Marvel, and yeah,
I disagree with you on that very
that
strongly,
would have been
but it's
cool
fine.
though if Galactus just came out of nowhere. Freaking Thanos is like, bring out the big guns, and then Galactus just lands on the
If they brought out
planet.
Galactus and that shit, they'd be so fucked. They'd be like, "Oh shit, what do we do now?"
It would have
They'd be
been
like, "What villain?"
cool. It would have been cool because Thanos in that movie is lame because he's not the Thanos that they've been fighting. He's like premature Thanos who doesn't even know anything yet. That's another reason I don't like that movie. The villain is not the same villain from an Infinity War. The villain that you thought was so deep and so cool and was so developed, that's not this guy. That is not Thanos. This is another version of Thanos who is stripped of all that development he got in the last movie. So there's no villain in the movie, really. The only villain is time, basically, and it's just like not. It's just I don't know. I could go on and on. I don't want to talk about
Hey,
Endgame
considering
too
we're
much.
speaking a lot of shit about Marvel right now, I just want to say my favorite Marvel movie. All right, are you prepared for this, Josh?
Okay.
Are you prepared? My favorite Marvel movie is Daredevil. Shut up. It's a movie now. Fuck you.
Daredevil, the
Daredevil is
show
is great. The
is
show is great.
so
It is fucking
fucking
perfect.
good. Okay,
It
no.
well, it's not
The
perfect.
second
Season two has
season,
issues.
season 2, just get rid of Elektra. Just get rid of all of her scenes. Did you notice
Yeah.
that every time Elektra is in the show, the set design and everything is just trash? Just simultaneously, all the creative just
Uh,
stuff just goes away when she's in a scene. It's just like, what the
I
heck?
get they wanted
Season
to
1 and
show
2,
how
season 1 and 3
hard
are so good.
they want to show that Matt is like struggling with himself and how to be either Matt Murdock or Daredevil. But you didn't
Dude,
have to. You didn't have to do it with Elektra. You did it enough in the first season, and it
season
worked.
1 and 3. Season 3 is so fucking
Yeah, but the
good.
first four
Oh my
episodes of
god.
Daredevil season two
Oh
are
yeah,
great.
those were
This shit
good.
with
Okay,
Punisher, the
Punisher.
graveyard scene.
Yeah. Just Elektra. Just get rid of Elektra and it's like one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. Daredevil is like, I guess we're going to have a whole
Regardless of
conversation
Elektra,
about
it
this,
already
but
is one of the greatest shows I've ever
Daredevil
seen.
has some of the greatest, if not the greatest, one take scenes. And I think the second one, the one in the second season where he's like fighting all the biker dudes, I think some of the cuts, like the invisible cuts, were kind of obviously like not, they were fake, but it was still good. But the first one, the first season where he's trying to save that girl, um, or whatever, that gets captured by a bunch of like thugs or whatever. I forgot who exactly was doing it. When he's in that hallway, you know what I'm talking about, where he's in that hallway and he's just fighting them for like a solid 15 minutes. That is so
Ugh.
fucking good. And the writing is so good. Remember, it's like the writing is, it's not generic. It's so good because I remember one part, the one that really sticks with me is what's his name? What's his friend? His attorney friend. I
Fucking
haven't seen it in a
Nelson,
long time.
Foggy Nelson.
Foggy Nelson is asking him why the hell, like when he figures out who he is, he's like, why the hell are you doing this? Like this is crazy. And then Murdoch is just like, I was tired of waking up in the middle of the night and hearing, because he could hear so well, and he's like, I'm tired of waking up in the middle of the night and hearing this little girl getting sexually abused by her father in the apartment right next to me. And you think I can just sit here and deal with that my entire life and sit here and listen to all the crime going around in this area and listen to all of it happen while I'm sleeping every night? And he just said, no, I can't. I cannot deal with that. And that's just such a good motivation. It's so good. He's like being tortured, but he's like forced into doing it. And it's so good. Like
Some of that is like,
the
oh
writing
man,
is so fucking good. Like I cannot stop talking about and
the
everything.
final speech where he beats the fuck out of Fisk, like the thing he
Oh,
says
so
that really
good.
stuck with me, that hit me hard, was where Fisk was like, "I'll just fucking kill me. You know I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna hunt everyone you love and care about." And he's like, "God knows I want you, but I'm not gonna let you destroy who I am." And that's
Yeah, he also
I
has like
just
a a no killing rule, and
Yeah,
it's so because he desperately wants to so bad, but he doesn't do it. It's like it's almost like Batman. I think
what makes
Daredevil
him a hero.
is also one of my. I have a freaking I have a whatever you would call it, I guess statue or whatever of Daredevil on top of my Xbox. He's one of my favorite characters, and although I don't talk about him much, he's just really good. I think Marvel said something about making a movie for him,
I
and
don't want to do that.
I don't want Marvel to do it because I know that they'll just do the same CGI stuff. The reason the show was so good
Him
is
being
because they
blind would
couldn't
be
afford
comedic.
CGI. They couldn't afford any of that stuff. He's also not comedic, but also like the amount of deep tones. Like in season 3, Murdoch was questioning if God was evil or not. Like if he was a terrible being. Like if he should hate God and turn to the devil. And that's like such uh, a unique thing to say in a show, and I think it's like such a deep thing. And
Yeah.
although like I'm not super religious, like the show was still good, and I think the religious aspect of it added so much to the show, and it's just so good. Such a good show. And all the villains were good, except the freaking Asian mafia or whatever. That was really bad. Just everything involving Elektra, freaking terrible.
No one cares.
Absolute garbage. Everything involving Elektra.
Whenever they would do that, I was always just wanting them to get back to the Punisher stuff.
Exactly. The Punisher was so good. And the court cases and stuff. Because, the writers and stuff really researched how court cases work and how all this stuff works. And they had to research how attorneys go about their business. And there's so much depth that you can do with court cases. Because court cases, like, in the history of America are really, like, deep. They're kind of like stories of themselves, even though they're real. You read into court cases, they're really deep and stuff. And adding that into a show while also having this deep character is like insane. It's just adding all the good elements to it.
I don't even know
But
what it
we
like.
we talked
It's
about.
just so good.
But anyways, I think we should, because the next thing we were supposed to talk about is the new Arkham game. We went on a huge tangent. I'm gonna put timestamps. It'll probably be Batman Returns talk, Daredevil or Marvel talk, Daredevil talk, and then new Arkham talk. See, this is what I'm talking about
We
with
definitely
tangents.
had other conversations along the way there.
Yeah. So the new Arkham game. First of all, I don't know anything about the new Arkham game, and I haven't made a video because I know there was a leak or
Don't know
something
anything.
that happened. I think even K-Wing made a video about it. There's some type of leak. I'm not gonna pay attention to it. I didn't really feel like
Uh,
watching the video because
Leaks don't mean shit.
leaks right now, I just don't. Unless it's like a really, really, really juicy leak, I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm kind of really just waiting for the thing to happen. I'm really just waiting for it to happen because there's no way they tease something, all that stuff, changed their profile picture, changed everything about their Twitter account, and like updated it, and started tweeting, and then tweeted that teases out. There's no way on earth they're not making a Batman game or a Court of Owls related game. There's just no way.
Scott Snyder has been teasing it.
Exactly. So I'm just confused why they haven't announced it yet. That's my only confusion. I really highly doubt that they. I really think they are working on a game. I'm just confused why they aren't releasing a trailer or something because it's really weird to tease a game like and release a trailer like 3 months later. It just doesn't make sense. You don't want to do that because everybody forgets about the tease you just did, except like maybe the diehard fans. Those are the only people that remember that you teased the game.
You
Everybody's
have people
forgotten about
talking
it
about this
except
Arkham
us.
Legacy because
Yeah, now we're talking
everyone's
about
like,
Arkham Legacy. It's just like really.
because the thing is, people are so desperate to find the game that you've just left open for some reason. That now
Yeah,
people are just
please.
clinging on to any leak
Or
that
add
comes.
add more teases instead of like waiting for people to do more leaks. Just add like an image. Like just do one image every week. Just add an image, and then we have to like decode the image and all that stuff. That's like what other developers will do. Fun games like that where they have all this stuff where you have to decode the images, and they send packages to big YouTubers, and the YouTubers have to decode what it's saying, and it gives teases about the upcoming game. It's like Treyarch sends these packages and post stuff that have secret messages that the community has to decode for their zombies and stuff. And it's really investing because people watch those videos to figure out what they are saying and stuff. So why don't they just
Yeah.
do that? Why can't they do that? I don't know why they teased it and then just
Like,
stopped.
look, if you're too early in development to announce it, then why the fuck did you tease it?
Yeah, don't tease it. I mean, unless they have some type of plan, I don't know what that plan would be. I just don't understand why they teased it. I guess it's good that we know something is coming, but it's just kind of just like, come on. Please release a trailer, release a teaser trailer, something. And if they don't release a trailer this year, I'm going to be incredibly surprised. I'm really
Maybe
hoping
they
they
should
do.
release it around Christmas, and then it's like Christmas themed, like a trailer,
Oh, true. That
and
would
then
be
we get it
cool.
like around like October or something next year.
You know,
Once again, though, because of
one thing I
Origins.
want to talk about is because I haven't talked about this yet. But since now we know it's a Court of Owls thing, game or whatever. It's not a Damian Wayne Batman game or anything like that. All that stuff is gone. It's this new Court of Owls game, and
Yeah.
I want to know. Like, I'm not sure what it's going to be at all. Personally, I don't even know if it's going to be an Arkham game. I don't know if if it is an Arkham game. Will it be after Arkham Knight or before Arkham Knight? What do you think's gonna happen? What do you think this game is?
Okay, well, yeah, it's Arkham. That's where I think it stands right now. I think that what happened was the Damian Wayne thing was the thing they were trying to make, and then Rocksteady were just like they pulled the plug on that because it didn't make any fucking sense. And
I
then
think it was just
now
WB
they're
pulled the
making this
plug.
other DC game. Yeah, one of them pulled the plug. And then, now I think they're making a DC game that is Arkham because of the Arkham love recently and because they were already working on the Damian Wayne thing. I think it is going to be Arkham, but if I could have it my way, I wouldn't have it Arkham. Because I like Arkham
Yeah,
games. I love Arkham games. But Arkham now is so limited to where it's like, what can you do with it? That is
yeah. You
that
first
is really
you gotta find a time frame that makes sense for your story, and then you gotta call into question. Wait, does this character exist yet in the universe? Like, it's all this like limitations on writing because I tried writing a fan game, and it's confusing as shit because you're like, wait, like I had Jim Gordon. He was commissioner at the time. I was like, wait a second, he's not supposed to be Commissioner Gordon yet because he becomes Commissioner Gordon at the end of Arkham Origins. So it's just a bunch of stuff like that. If you're writing it, it would just be a lot of limitations on your creativity because you have to make everything work with the universe. I would just make an entirely different universe and just start something
where
new
you
and
plan a
fresh.
franchise because Arkham Asylum, Rocksteady, they weren't planning to have this big series of games, except for like Arkham City. They were probably planning on a trilogy, but now people are demanding more and more, and that's obviously not what they wanted to do. So I think now it's time for you to maybe adapt a comic or something, or just do something different.
Just do a
Uh,
more unique game with different mechanics, stuff like that.
New models, maybe new art style.
New art style, all that type of stuff. New type of Gotham. Just do a new story, really. Like if you get a good writer, good concept artist, which I know they do. They have some bomb ass concept artists at WB Montreal.
They have
God
some fire
dang.
bitches, bro.
They got some fire concept artists, not gonna lie. So that's what they need to I mean they're doing it. I think they are doing it. I hope they got a good writer though. I don't think it's Paul Dini. I don't think it's Paul Dini at all. It's just gonna be some writer that
Love it to
we
be,
don't
but
really
no.
know about. Usually writers just go unnoticed unless they're like famous like Paul Dini. But I think I think for the most part they know what they're doing because I'm making the Arkham Origins video and I'm kind of trying to defend WB Montreal because before Origins they only made one game and it was like a Lego. It wasn't Lego. It was Arkham City Armored Edition. They didn't really know what they were doing, and when they're making this huge AAA game, even if they have this many people, they're still going to have all these bugs and stuff. And what I said was that the video is probably out now, but what I said was that it's not really like you can't expect WB to somehow do all this stuff. Like they didn't do this on purpose. They didn't have a buggy launch on purpose. Bethesda, they have a buggy launch and they just know they'll have a buggy launch. They don't even do anything about it. They're just like, "Oh, we have buggy launch like every game." But WB Montreal, they weren't trying to make a buggy game. And I think Arkham Origins, they could probably admit that there's a lot of mistakes, a lot of copy and paste things they shouldn't have done. If you actually, sat down and talked to developers, they'd say there's a lot of stuff we learned from Arkham Origins, and that's what we're going to do better in this game.
What's
So,
important?
yeah, it's important learning. They messed up. I don't think they failed. I think Arkham Origins is a good game, and I heard when I saw on Wikipedia, because I was looking it up for the video, that apparently they got some awards, like, or were nominated for some awards for the game, like best action adventure game or something like that for that year, and that's pretty crazy. And I feel like they kind of deserve that stuff, but they also learned from all their mistakes, like the game breaking bugs and stuff. So
It's
I
some good
think they know
shit.
what they're doing. I think they really do know what they're doing, especially since they've failed. They did fail, actually, for. I don't know if the Suicide Squad game is real, but the Damian Wayne game, they definitely failed or something. Something WB was just like, no, we're pulling the plug. They failed on
And
that.
look, all these failed projects have actually
Made them
made them
better.
better game developers.
Exactly.
Because, like, dude, I'm pretty sure I can't remember where I heard this, but I'm pretty sure the Damian Wayne game was almost finished.
I mean, yeah, because they have like a bunch of concept art. I mean, I don't know too much, but yeah, I mean, they were pretty far in production. I mean, this is like, how long is it now? Like 6 years or something? 6 years since Arkham Origins came out, and they've just been trying to
The only
make a
Batman thing
game.
we've gotten was fucking Telltale, and we don't talk about that.
They've been just trying to make a game for the longest time. I think they're actually making this game now, and we're ready. But personally, like, I want to talk about what I want from the game. Personally, I mean, I've said this before. We've all made those videos where we're like, what we want from the new Arkham game. But I just want characters we haven't seen before, and I want more, like, I want meaning to the story. I don't want to just be an action adventure game where it's like, oh, that was cool, cool explosion stuff. I want it to be deep. Like, I want you to actually think about what's happening. I think Arkham Origins, you know, it's a very action-packed game, but behind that all is like this characterization of Joker and Batman's relationship, and all the stuff that happens with Alfred and Batman's trying to learn from this night. And I feel like that's really deep, something you could think about. So that's what I want from this game. I just want it to be deep. I want the map. The visual looks need to be good, obviously, and I want them to go with a um, more detailed. I think Arkham Origins, one of its faults is that some areas of the map are just so under detailed. Like the Coventry, for some reason, just like all the other places of the map are more detailed, but the Coventry just is super plain. Just flat roads, just nothing on them. I don't know what happened with that district.
Yeah,
Just
but
suddenly they just stopped caring about that district.
I don't believe the Arkham Legacy leak, but I want to talk about it for a second because
I don't know
I want to
anything about
voice my
it.
opinion
I
on
heard it
it
was multiplayer,
because
maybe something like that.
no, I heard no. This is the thing. Apparently, what Arkham Legacy is, the next Arkham game is going to be a Bat Family centered game
Oh,
where
okay.
you switch between different characters. I don't want that. I'm
I
fine.
want a focused. I want a really focused story on
Yeah,
a certain character or two certain characters. I'm fine if they have like one other Bat Family member in there who has this deep like story.
you can have Bat Family in there, but I don't want to fucking switch between them. I don't want to have a level where I play as Nightwing and like fucking Batgirl. I don't want to do that.
I like okay,
I would
it's
rather have a
fine.
game where Batman's at the forefront and see what he has to do with things because that's like the title character.
Yeah, I think it's fine to have a Bat
Tyler
family.
Perry.
Like I'd be fine if we could play as like the whole Bat family. Just the story needs to be focused on like a few certain characters. I don't want the story to be overcrowded with just a bunch of characters and it's hard to write it. Like I want it
Okay,
to be focused.
if it is like Scott Snyder has been teasing and WB Game Montreal were teasing for a long time that this is a Court of Owls game. If they try and pull the bullshit where Batman does everything in one night, no, fuck off. Fuck off. This
True.
thing that has been terrorizing Gotham for years and been controlling it without anyone noticing, all done in one night by Batman. No,
Yeah.
fuck off.
Don't do that.
I no, like eat a dick. I'd rather you make a Batman porn game before you make that. Like no, you're
What
not
the
doing that
heck?
shit. Not the Court of Owls. You're not doing that because that's fucking stupid and it doesn't make sense. And I don't know why it's become a fucking tradition to get everything done in one night. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense. The Arkham City thing, the time does not
Telltale
make much
is really
sense.
good,
Telltale sucked. I did not like
but at least
Telltale.
they had
They
day and
can.
night.
Oh, at least they have. That doesn't. I don't
No, I'm
know.
not
I
saying
guess.
Telltale's great. I think one thing I will say Telltale did good was I think they did good with Two-Face. He's not the perfect
Yeah.
Two-Face, but I think like I was watching one part and Two-Face like he wasn't evil, like you do the option where he doesn't turn evil, and he still had the burn, like his face was messed up. And he's in the mayor's office and he's talking to Bruce and he's like, "Today's the portrait day or whatever." And then he turns to his side and he says, "And I'm going to have to look like this." It's just really I like that. That's such a good line. That's such a deep line. It's just like god dang, this guy's life is messed up. But
Yeah.
I think there should be a day cycle or whatever. I think they probably will.
Give it a day
Also,
cycle. And
don't have
honestly, I
Gotham
wouldn't
like
even.
be entirely empty. You don't have to make it where like there's billions of cars on the ground and you could get hit by a car. Just have a few cars going around. And
Don't be so afraid of having people like do shit.
yeah, I mean, why
Like,
and
dude,
also why are
I
there
know it
thugs
sounds
just
odd for.
on highways and stuff in Arkham Origins? Like why are they just all over the
Yeah,
place for no reason?
it comes across as too free, and it's just it kind of it limits a lot of things in a way. It really does because I think you could do a lot more stories with
Have more
civilians
risk.
involved.
Have more risk because there's like zero risk when someone blows up a building in Arkham Origins because every like when he blows up the construction site, there's like nobody in there. You know, he's like it's a construction site. There's nobody in there. And it's like we need to have more risk. I think Arkham Origins kind of did it good with the Pioneer's Bridge because it's like yeah, there's a bunch of people on here still. So we can't just let the bridge blow up. But I think they should do it more, like a more impactful thing because and also Arkham Knight, oh, I'm going to release the fear toxin. Okay? The only people that are here are criminals. You just going to gas the criminals? Everybody else is
You're really
left.
taking over the world there,
You really
Scarecrow.
took over like 3 districts of Gotham? Congratulations, Scarecrow. You just fear
Bro, I
toxined
can't believe it.
everybody but the people you wanted to do it. It's like, what? Like, why would you tell everybody to evacuate and then threaten that you're gonna gas them, but they're not there? They're not there anymore. Who are you threatening? Who are you threatening now? Batman? Do you think Batman's gonna die to your fear toxin cloud? He's Batman. We don't even need to get into Arkham Knight. But what do you like? What do you personally want from the game? Like, what do you want the Court of Owls to be in this game?
Okay, well, I would not mind a Court of Owls game, but ideally, my ideal Batman game is new universe, but if we're Arkham, I guess I'm fine with that. So, okay, let's just say we're going for Arkham just because that's what it is. I don't care what you say. If it's not, I will genuinely be surprised and kill myself. But let's say this is after Origins. Some things have he's got more villains. He's been in the game for a little longer. Uh, Around the time before Dick Grayson shows up, maybe you could even have him show up towards the end of the game just as an orphan. Show Wayne Manor in these games, man. Come on.
Yeah,
The
and the
fuck? Don't be like
Batcave.
Lego
The
Batman over there.
Batcave. Add the Batcave. Why did Arkham Knight not
Uh,
have a Batcave?
uh, then. what I would do is I would maybe have a detective story, just something like that that I think you could get into. And I would have it take place over a lot of time, more characters, more civilians. I would do stuff with Gordon, like with his wife and stuff. Uh, I would have I would adapt different comics like The Long Halloween and Dark Victory and stuff, and maybe mold them into one. Or, you could have like one big villain and a lot of other stuff to do with it. Because I don't know, I just I think that the if you keep doing the same thing you've been doing for all these games, it's gonna get rinse and repeat. So do something fucking new over there. Like get your shit straight. Not every
Yeah.
single story needs to be that Batman has this big new scary villain he needs to take down in 12 hours. Like, holy shit, is that what every night is for Batman?
Make
Because
it
if,
more
if that is,
personal, you know?
like, personal, things with it you've never done before.
Yeah. I
If
just
you don't, I'm gonna fucking hurt you.
but I don't know what I want from this game really. I kind of just hope it's a personal story that has a deep message or something to it
Maybe
that
tackle
wows
shit
me.
that's been seen as overdone. Like, I don't mind. Maybe tackle the whole parents thing. See how Bruce Wayne doing in that noggin of his. Like, dude, he's a fucking man who dresses up as a bat because his parents died one night. Go into that. Go into what it means to be Batman and why it may or may not be a good thing. I'm sick of the same shit where Batman is not that developed of a character in any of these games except for like Origins, where he kind of
Yeah.
just stumbles his way to all these situations, interrogates people to get what he wants, and then finally we get a boss fight at the end that is not as good as the one from 2 hours ago, and then you're done.
Are you
I'm
hating
sick
on
of
Arkham
that
Origins?
formula.
I think the boss
I'm no,
fight
I'm
there
not
was pretty
hating on
good.
Arkham Origins. I'm hating on Arkham games because
Okay.
that's how it is.
Hold on.
That's just how it's always been.
Keep
It's like, oh
talking.
yeah, there's like a big bad. Do it in fucking like 4 minutes, then you're done. Like
I gotta go to the
I
bathroom real
don't get
quick.
it.
I will be right back, but keep
Jesus, I gotta prove a big point
explaining.
here. Okay, all right, what am I gonna explain here while he takes a fat piss? Arkham games limit themselves because they just seem to these traditions in place that they keep seem to feel the need to follow when they don't. They don't need to do the whole the bullshit with the get it done in one night Batman because you're fucking Batman. They don't need to do that anymore. We've seen it a lot of times, and if they keep following the same formula over and over, we're going to end up just having a game series that might as well be the same games, just getting increasingly worse and worse. We had Arkham Asylum, a great Batman game, had flaws only because of the time of its release and the gameplay is a bit clunky. But then you have Arkham City, a solid sequel, and then you have Arkham Origins, the game that most people had a problem with, and then you have Arkham Knight, the game that is actually really shit if you look at it. And it's just going to get worse and worse if they don't change things up. I don't I need them to change shit up because if they don't, I'm not gonna buy these fucking games anymore.
Holy
I have
crap, you're on
bought
a
like
rant.
stupid. It's I don't want to play the same game because how much longer until these games are basically just gonna be the same fucking thing? Arkham Asylum and Arkham City were probably the most
I
different
mean,
from each
I
other.
don't I
Origins
don't
took
hate
a
the
lot
formula.
from City. Fucking I do because it's just gonna damage their game in the future. It's not gonna make them look good. It's
I
just gonna
think
because
I
if they
think they
keep
are
doing
gonna
this
do
for as
something
long as they
different.
have, if they okay, like let's say if they make four more games, then you have fucking 8 games where Batman has to do everything in one night. He takes down the villain. I don't want that. The
I
rant I
mean,
went
I
on was
think
really uncalculated, and I kind of just said a lot of shit that you'll see it when you're editing this. It doesn't make much sense.
I'm probably not even
How
gonna
long have we
edit
been
this.
filming here?
We've been going on for an hour and 20 minutes, but I don't think they're gonna do anything generic. I mean, they've been testing stuff out. Suicide Squad, Damian Wayne Batman game, whatever else they've done. They've been doing a bunch of like a bunch of stuff that's different. And I'm pretty sure the Damian Wayne
They
Batman
have been,
game
but
wasn't
everything
gonna
they've
be in one
tried to
night.
do different has
And I
had the
think
plug pulled on it. Like I think that they keep trying this new stuff, but WB or Rocksteady is like,
Well,
no, 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 we know what works, so
if
don't
they
do anything.
okay, if they like what they're doing, and they're probably just gonna implement it, but just with the new story that they have, they're gonna implement some of the mechanics that they planned for the other games in this one. I don't think this will be a copy and paste Arkham Knight game. I think it will be its own unique thing with unique gameplay and a unique, I guess, story and pacing of the story. So I don't think we need to fear
Yeah.
that it's gonna be too similar. I don't think it will. I mean, look at the difference
I don't
between
really,
Origins and Knight, like entirely different games.
but you know what game is very similar to Origins?
City.
Purposefully. Yeah. He's like, I'm just kind of worried that WB Montreal are like, oh, Arkham Knight did pretty great. Let's kind of take some story
I
beats
don't
from
I don't
that,
think
shall
they're
we?
stupid.
Maybe we'll bring back fucking, I don't know,
Well, they
Barbara
know
or
Arkham
something.
Knight wasn't critically acclaimed. So,
It was critically acclaimed.
by like IGN maybe, but the fans acknowledge
10
that
out
it's
of
not
10
that great.
makes you feel like
It makes you
Batman.
feel like Batman, guys. It makes you
I saw
feel
this one
like Batman.
retrospective of the Arkham series where the guy was like, "Oh yeah, so the Arkham Asylum is a great game. Fucking Arkham City is pretty great. Arkham Origins sucks.
So bad. It's
Arkham Knight
so bad,
is
bro.
so amazingly perfect that it doesn't even make sense,
What?
but it makes me feel like Batman, bro. I feel like Batman. I feel like I could put
Arkham
on my
Knight.
pajamas and touch myself for 4 hours like Batman.
Nah, I think Arkham Knight, they had some cool like mechanic ideas in the beginning, and they just focus way too much on the mechanics, and the story, for some reason the story just was not, it was so, if you play the game, the story is just like random. It's just like, oh, now here we're doing this. Oh, nothing like leads up to each other. It's just like, oh, freaking Scarecrow ended up here. Oh, I just got called by Barbara. Something's happening over here. Gotta go there. Now this, that,
Like
this,
I made
boom.
fun of like
It's just
Arkham Asylum
not
and Arkham City for
linked.
Batman being this bumbling idiot who just kind of wanders himself in these situations for the greater good. But like he does that in Arkham Knight more than any other
Arkham
game.
Knight, I like, it would have been cool to see Batman struggling. I think they got it right that Batman should struggle in this last game. But the decisions Batman makes are un-Batman. They're not what Batman would do. After this is his peak. He's not going to make these dumb decisions. Even if he's in like fear toxin or whatever. It's just so many plot holes and stuff,
Why is
and
the fear toxin in that game different than it was in this?
why I really wish they had the Scarecrow levels from Arkham Asylum but with Arkham Knight. Imagine that with Arkham Knight graphics. Like, that would have been
Imagine
so
Arkham
cool.
Origins with Arkham Knight graphics.
Dude, oh my god. Bro, that would have been really cool. I think they went too far away from the Arkham games. I think they wanted to do something way too different because the story structure of Arkham Knight is like nothing like the other
I
games.
don't think they wanted to do different. I think they wanted to do as similar as they could, but they didn't know how because they lost Paul. Well, they didn't lose Paul Dini. They just never decided to get him in there. Maybe they did want to do something different, but I don't think it worked. Because the way I look at Arkham Knight is a game that wanted to be better than both games by being in the same realm, having bigger cities, islands, all this shit. Like, and I think the way I look at it is like, oh, this stuff kind of thing worked in this game, so we're gonna put this over here in like Bleak Island. This stuff worked in this game, so we're gonna put this right here. The Diamond District, Miyagani Island, and like Founders and shit for our modern stuff. And then for the story, we need to go bigger and better. And what's the one name that keeps popping up in our emails? Jason Todd. Let's adapt him, dude. Anyone who's taken a few quick glances at Wikipedia knows who the Arkham Knight is. You don't need to be a dedicated, long-time Batman fan to know the Arkham Knight is Jason Todd. You don't.
It's
It's
I
fucking
don't know.
stupid. I saw that shit from a mile away.
Yeah, everybody did really because everybody was saying, "Oh, it's Red Hood," and then like, "It's not Red Hood, but that's close." It's like, oh my god, dude. Like,
That's
Everyone knew
close.
it. They wouldn't take a risk like making him Prometheus or something. They wouldn't do any of that stuff. It was just really, and also when you're playing the game, it's so obvious because you start seeing these visions of Jason Todd. I wonder why I'm
Batman wasn't even
coincidentally
there for.
seeing Jason Todd. I'm wondering why I'm coincidentally seeing Jason Todd in this game. Hmm, maybe if I knew anything about stories and if I have read or watched any movie or anything, I know that this means that the Arkham Knight is Jason Todd. It's just really obvious. It's so easy to predict. There's just a lot of problems with that game. I think the story structure of Origins is really well done. I think the pacing is really well done, and like there's always something like really interesting, like oh shit, fireflies trying to burn the Pioneers Bridge. That's cool, and there's so many cool points in it. Or oh crap, I gotta go up this tall massive hotel I didn't even think I would go to in the game. I thought it was just like a background building. No, I get to go in that building. I get to go to the very top of it. Oh crap, Joker just blew up this giant skyscraper. It's just really interesting and action packed throughout the way, but it's not even just that. It's also really good writing. Um,
I'll be back
Cutscenes
in a
are
minute.
so
You keep
good.
talking.
The um the cutscenes and Origins, I think, are the peak of cutscenes. I'm not trying to say the story is the best out of the Arkham series, but the cutscenes are so well done. They're all so well directed and stuff, and it's because they're not in game. And some people say that that's bad, but I personally think that them not being in game isn't really a bother to me because that happens a lot in the 360 era where cutscenes were rendered separately from the game. It was just a video. But I think Origins has some of the coolest cutscenes, like where Joker, it's like a lot of indirect characterization where, the Royal Hotel, I showed this in my video. The first time you see the Joker in the penthouse, he's faking that he's Black Mask. He takes out the mask and then he kicks Electrocutioner out the window and kills him. And the music and stuff, and just Batman's face looking at this dead body, it's just so deep. It's shocking, really. I mean, that's kind of no pun intended, but it's shocking, and it's just really cool. And then you have indirect characterization of Bane because Bane, Joker's like, why don't you go kill the Bat? And then Bane's like, he's coming here. I'm gonna kill him here when he comes to you. It's really interesting writing. I think. I think it's. I think it's good, and everything leads to each other. It's not just like things pop out of nowhere. I think the one thing that does pop out of nowhere would be like the Firefly, where it's just like, oh, this Firefly plot popped out of nowhere. But really, like, honestly, the Pioneers Bridge mission wasn't purposeless. It had purpose because it kind of tied Jim Gordon and Batman together more. But that was like the only time where it was just like, boom, something just random happened. In Origins, every point in the story leads up to each other. There's a crime scene, so you have to go find evidence. You have to go to GCPD to get stuff. In Arkham Knight, you do something and then something else pops up randomly, or you have to wait. Sometimes it tells you in Arkham Knight that the story mission isn't ready yet. Go do side missions. It's just like a break. It's like the story doesn't really lead to each other. It just doesn't work. At least it doesn't do that all the time. I'm not saying it does that every single mission, but a lot of the time just random stuff pops up everywhere. Like, oh no, GCPD's being destroyed. Oh no, the airships have landed. Oh no, this
Yeah.
is happening.
Yeah, I just got I'm black and back.
Okay. I'm just talking about how, Origins, the story, like all the points, other than the Firefly mission, although the Firefly mission has a lot of, there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of meaning because of Jim Gordon and Batman. Their relationship is developing while they're on the bridge trying to solve this problem. But other than that, all the story elements and points, they add to each other. Like they lead to each other. It's not just random stuff that happens. While in Arkham Knight, just random points in the story just pop up out of
Yeah, that's
nowhere.
what holds the story together. I don't think it's a bad thing to have random things happen. because random things should happen in a story. Because
But not all
realistically,
the
the
time.
main characters aren't going to be expecting everything that happens. But not every single fucking
Or
story
like,
beat should
okay,
be something
because
that no one expected,
Batman,
nobody planned, just happens because why not?
it's not even just like not. I'm not saying the story can't be like surprising, because the origin story is surprising. You have no idea what's gonna happen when Batman meets Bane at the top of Royal Hotel. What's gonna happen? Is Joker gonna get arrested? What is Joker gonna be stopped? What's gonna happen? You had no idea Joker was gonna blow up a giant skyscraper. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the mission structure, like the missions, like when the missions start. In Arkham Knight, when a mission starts, Alfred just pulls you up. He's like, something's happening at this location. Go there. While in Arkham Origins, it's more like, for instance, you're at the crime scene. Batman's like, okay, I don't have these files. I need to go to GCPD. And then after he's done the GCPD, he's like, okay, I need to get into this eternal network, and the only way I can get there is below the GCPD. So I need to go to the sewers. Oh, okay, I have the information I need now. I need to go to Merchant's Bank because that's what the evidence led me to. That never really happens in Arkham Knight. It's more like I stop this thing, I stop this threat, new threat. I stop this threat, new threat. Oh, Scarecrow's here, must go here. Oh, wait, he's not there, never mind. Okay, do some side missions because I'm forced to because the story won't continue. Okay, now the story is continuing. Oh no, the Batwing found something. It's just like nothing leads to each other the way that all the other games do. Like Arkham City, you defeat Penguin, you find Mr. Freeze, and then the ninja breaks out. The ninja breaks out and you're like, "Oh, I got to follow her blood." And then you get the blood and you're like, "Oh, I got to go to Wonder City." It's everything leads to each other. But Arkham Knight doesn't do that. And that's what really annoys me about Arkham Knight.
Yeah, well, I mean, do you want to close this off with talking about your script?
Oh yeah, so my script is basically, I said this in my community tab. Um So I'm writing this script. Now there's this thing called Arkham Falls. It was this Minecraft map or whatever. It's really old. Arkham Falls is like so old. I started it when I was like, I don't fucking know, like 12 or some shit. Really long time ago. And it was just this Minecraft map. And then I made it into another Minecraft map. And then I did it again. And then I was like, oh crap, I need to actually like write a good story. So I started writing a story. And then I rewrote the story again. And then I rewrote it like 5 more times, and now I'm actually rewriting it, but I'm gonna make it more focused. I have more writing experience now, and I'm gonna write a film script of it. It's gonna be a little bit more detailed than a film script because I know it won't become a film. Um, but basically, what I'm gonna ask you guys, whoever gets to this point, is what the hell I should do with it. What should I do with this film script? Obviously, I can't make a film. Some people have mentioned that maybe I should make this like I guess stop motion, not stop motion, like animation
Animation?
kind of thing, but it's not like full on animation, just like
Right.
showing the areas and stuff, and people read out their lines or something like that. But honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know what I want to do with it. Because I think it's a really good story that I'm coming up with here, and some of the stuff I've written before I think is really cool, and I've always wanted it to show. Always wanted to show it to somebody or people, but I never really knew how to do it. I was doing it through a Minecraft map before, but that didn't work for me, and I just don't know how to do it. So I'm asking you guys what you think. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Follow me on Twitch as well if you want to see this podcast live. I don't know when that will
Um,
happen, but we'll figure out if that'll happen.
if you somehow made it at the end here, what's a hashtag we could use for people to let us know
Oh
that you
yeah,
made it
yeah.
here?
Okay. I guess you could do
Something we used to do.
hashtag retro for now, just like our podcast name. If you
Yeah.
like that name, then tell us in the comments below. Just hashtag retro if you've
If you don't like
watched the
that
whole
name,
podcast.
then crawl back up your mother's womb. We don't care.
No, you can tell us if you don't like the name. If you have a better idea for a name, we can easily change it. It
Yeah.
won't be hard at all.
He literally just made the logo before we
I
recorded this.
literally just came up with that, and I just thought it looked cool. Um,
We have some great Finn the Human pictures in this chat, so you know it's
yeah.
coming in.
So that's basically it. that's, I guess, follow me on Twitch, subscribe, and thank you for all the views and stuff and
Suggestions.
support. Suggestions for videos and
And ask
stuff,
questions.
and questions for the next podcast. What do you guys like want to know from us in the next podcast? That's what we do. At the end of every podcast, we will answer questions from the comments of the last podcast. So do that. But anyways, this is a long ass podcast. I am sorry, Sanity, for making this so fucking long.
That's fine. It's fine. It's more painful on them because they're like, oh look, it's this guy I subscribed to 4 days ago. Oh, it's 2 hours long.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I
Well, to be
think.
fair, the reason you're getting a lot of subscribers right now is because of a 27-minute video.
True. A lot of
Hit
people watched all the way
1.9. Well,
through.
not just, but you hit 1.9K. You're almost at 2K, but
Yeah, I'm really appreciative of the subscribers, and I might make a video talking about it and talk about what I want to do with the channel and stuff. But mainly, I hope that I can continue this because I want to make it my job, because I don't want to go work at a fast food place. Like, I really don't want to do that.
yeah.
So that's really why I'm focusing on YouTube right now and trying to eventually get enough followers to stream on Twitch, because I don't want a job, okay? I want this to be my job. So that's pretty much it.
Comfort and if a million people somehow see this, and a lot of you subscribe to Josh, I'd appreciate it too, because I don't want to get a job either. I
Uh,
don't. I I don't want a job. I can't even remember my YouTube name. It's like, what is it? It's like Indeed Adventure Time. That'll be changed soon,
I'll
but
put it in the
take it.
description, of course. But I
If you
think
motherfuckers don't check me
Sanity
out, you're all gay and you like men. I don't know why that's a
Sanity
bad thing, but it.
will eventually start making videos, and they'll be
Yeah.
similar to mine. So if you like my stuff, then you might like his stuff. But we'll talk about in the future because he's gonna be on the podcast and stuff. So yeah, but that's pretty much it. We'll end it off. I don't know how we're gonna end this. What do we say? Just goodbye?
Just goodbye. The intro and
Goodbye.
outro shit is dumb now. We don't need it. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Okay, that was great.